time now to look at some pressing issues in our country. I have here with me Paul Eric Ofori, who is Head of Research for COPEC. And let me also say that we are also waiting for Mensa Thompson of ASEPA. But Eric is here. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
I know that I'm not in good standing in your books, but let me apologize. I mean, once I sit on TV and apologize, you don't have much to say than to say you have forgiven me. So I'm very sorry for missing out on your birthday. Belated happy birthday to you.
That's why I've been ambushed. I mean, viewers and listeners can attest that you've ambushed me, so I don't have a choice. I have to agree. So you are forgiven.
Thank you, sir. You're forgiven, whether it's coming from a good place or not.
It's coming from a good place.
Once you have been forgiven, means you have been forgiven. Thank you very much. But we have quite a number of issues happening, you know, so many things going around. And I think that one pressing issue is the 24-hour economy. I mean, everybody is talking about that. I don't know what you think about this, but I'll take your initial comments on that whilst I get you the details of the story. I'm sure that we all know what President Mahama, if he gets the nod, you know, to be president again, intends to do. That is to run the economy 24 hours non-stop. What is your understanding of this policy? Again,
good morning, and good morning to your viewers. A special one to my boss. Today is exactly a year I assumed the position of Head of Research at COPEC.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And then also to Grace of Petroleum Hub. Last week was your birthday, belated one to you.
Right.
And then my boss, my wife, who brought me here.
That's nice. Madam, thank you.
Now, on the issue of the 24-hour economy.
Yeah.
You see, prior to the 2012 elections, the trump card of the NPP was free senior high school.
Yes.
I mean, there were back and forth about that policy, whether or not it was possible. Some even went as far as saying it could only materialize in 20 years' time. I vividly remember the late Leo Kran, who mentioned that policy could only work in after 20 years.
Yeah.
And today we are living that promise, right? A presidential candidate comes out and says that if I get a nod, I want to run Ghana's economy 24 hours. We have heard a lot of comments and commentaries, people writing articles, left, right, center, on the policy. If you ask me, as a student of possibilities, I don't believe in that school of thought that says that it is impossible as a country to run a 24-hour economy. I think it is a fantastic idea, and I think that it is the game changer as far as our economy is concerned. Why do I say so? Look at our current unemployment rate. We have about 14% of the population, in fact, active in a productive workforce. People who are willing to work, about 14 of them are unemployed. And here we are importing virtually everything into the country when we can run, produce on a high scale, get these people who are unemployed to work. All right? All you need to do is to incentivize these institutions, especially manufacturing.
Yeah.
Most of them are producing below capacity. Some of them below as below as 20-30% of that 100% capacity that they have. And so where you have a deliberate policy that seeks to bring some of these manufacturing companies to that level where they can even do about 80-70% of their production capacity, that is the way to go. All right, and so my initial submission on this policy, if you ask me, is that it is possible within that framework where you are going to channel your resources to making sure that your energy situation is worked on, your security situation is also worked on, where you have incentives for all the players who want to participate in this. I think it is possible.
Right. Now, when you take a look at page 3 of the Today newspaper, you have the story there put together by Yao Tichi. It says 24-hour economic policy good, trade unions experts back Mahama. Now, majority of Ghanaians, including people from the academia and trade unionists, have welcomed the 2024 flag bearer of the largest opposition National Democratic Congress's 24-hour economic proposal, describing it as a game changer for the country's ailing economy. They commended John Dramani Mahama for thinking beyond the box. Now, if you come down a little bit, former president has a quote here. Says, a new NDC administration will work urgently to equip our youth with the entrepreneurial knowledge and skills needed for a sustainable future. We will introduce a 24-hour economy with incentives and tax breaks for manufacturers who will run extra shifts to create more room for employment, unquote. Now, responding to Mr. Mahama on his 24-hour economic promise, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is also the 2024 flag bearer of the ruling NPP government, rubbished the policy, asserting that it was not what Ghanaians needed at the moment. However, some Ghanaians disagree with Dr. Bawumia. For example, the Ghana Federation of Labour holds the belief that the creation of an economic and national development system that would hinge on a 24/7 economy, as proposed by former President John Mahama, was laudable and must be supported by all and sundry. Our federation, there's a quote, is indeed elated by the former President Mahama's assurance of implementing an economic policy that would revive collapsed industries and create more jobs. If you go on, it says in the 1970s up to early 90s, a three-shift system operated in manufacturing industries in the country, which created employment for thousands of workers, unquote. And this was done by Mr. Abraham Kumson, GFL Secretary General, stated in a statement. So you can get details of the story as well. It goes on and on and on. And we can welcome now the man, I don't want to say the late. So just let me say the man who is late, Mr. Thompson. Why are you late?
So sorry. I got caught up in the low traffic. I think today, I missed my alarm. So sorry.
No, say it like the way you would talk about free SHS and fix the country. Say it with that energy. Why are you late?
I didn't know it was you hosting.
I
thought it was him.
So you thought you could get away with that? No, headmistress has come back.
Oh, I didn't know you were the one who was going to come looking so beautiful. I would have woke up at 5 a.m.
See you. Anyway, you are welcome. So we are discussing the 24-hour economy that former President Mahama wants to implement should he get the nod, to become president again. So we've taken Paul's initial comments, and then I don't know what your comments will be before I go on. Now, we know that some trade unions and experts have welcomed this policy. The NPP is not too sure about this, but for me, are we taking enough advantage of the period that we have when we go to the office, between the 9 to 5? What really are we doing? Are we achieving so much to be able to say that the time that we have, productive time, is not enough? So let's extend it, to 24 hours. Are we doing so much? I don't know what your initial comments are on this.
Yes, Rama, thank you very much. Very good morning to everyone, and my apologies for being late. I think I have taken my time to listen to all the commentary around this 24-hour economy policy, which was announced by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I think he announced the policy on at an event, during his tour. Subsequently, he had the opportunity to, broke it down in pieces, but, I think that the actual policy document is going to be produced by the by the NDC, hopefully in their manifesto, and so we can get details for what they mean by a 24-hour economy. But like I've said here before, the 24-hour economy thing is not novel. It's something that has been done in other economies. So there are several economies that are implementing that, and so it's nothing new. There are so many examples that we can learn from. However, the commentary seems to suggest that a lot of people do not understand what this whole 24-hour economy means as an economic policy, not as any policy, but as a deliberate economic policy. And so they seem to think that the whole policy is about the duration of working hours.
Yeah.
And that is why you hear people like Dr. Bawumia say, chobas are operating for 24 hours, public toilets are operating for 24 hours. You can send money for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And so there's a
what is
24-hour
your
economy.
understanding of 24-hour economy?
And for me, for people to even, get to that simplistic conclusion of the policy, and these are people who are heading the economic management team, or people who are making policies for us, I think it's a bit worrying. We've heard one minister also from the northern region claiming that when...
Upper West?
Yes, Upper West, that
Our economy will
we
make
cannot sleep with our wives because
I think it's
of
Upper
the
East Regional Minister.
Upper East Regional Minister. Yes, we cannot sleep with our wives because of this policy.
very lovely
And it's the most WAP,
logic.
explanation or suggestion or understanding of the policy I've
It's on the
heard.
front page of the new publisher.
That a regional minister thinks that, a 24-hour economy will prevent him or Ghanaian men from sleeping with their wives. It's
Forgive me.
but you see, it's funny, but to a very large extent, it exposes, the thinking, the understanding, the depthness of the people who are taking decisions for us in this country. And that's why I said that all together, if you put the commentary of Dr. Bawumia and most government officials together, their understanding of the 24-hour economy is simply based on duration of working hours.
What is your understanding?
But it goes beyond just the duration of
So
working
tell us
hours.
about that.
You see, a simple checks with the telcos will tell you that even though you can send money, you can transact business at the comfort of your room, wherever you are for 24 hours. A huge chunk, about 70% of transactions are done between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. From 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., about 20%. And then from 10 p.m. to about 5 a.m. the following morning, it's about 10%. And these are data you can get from the telcos.
Right, I'll get back to you, but let me also pick your thoughts, all right? So you continue, don't worry, you continue. But I don't know if you also agree that it's not just we are oversimplifying the whole thing to make it look like it's just extension of working hours, because there's also been a conversation of people will run shifts and bring in people because of unemployment and all these kind of things. So other people are coming in. We need to also create time physically so that they can also get their chance to work. I don't know what your understanding is
Okay,
on this.
Fema, how many hours do we have in a day?
24 hours.
Thank you. Now, broken down to 3, that leaves us with 8. So it means 8 shifts. The first shift works from for the first 8. Second shift comes in, does another 8, and then we have another 8 coming in.
Yeah.
Essentially, you, like I indicated earlier,
Yeah.
you have a manufacturing sector that is not able to meet the demand. In some cases, they are able to do 20-30% of their production capacity. Now, if this deliberate policy comes in,
Yeah.
and to say that we are going to give you tax waivers, if you like,
Yeah.
this much of incentives, you are going to be provided 24-hour security, what stops me from increasing production?
And is that not being done already?
No!
Okay.
Unfortunately, no. You see, some of these institutions are saying that the taxes are killing them. And so by virtue of that, they are not able to produce, up to that capacity.
Yeah.
And so where you have a government that is coming in, or a government that says that, listen, I want to get rid of unemployment. I want to make sure we are able to meet our demand locally. So I'm introducing this policy. I am taking away so and so taxes. What are you going to do? You take advantage of it as a company.
Yeah.
And that is what we are imploring some of these institutions to run and embrace this concept. Even if this government decides to implement the policy now, it will be to its advantage. The 24-hour economy is feasible. It's not just feasible, but it is just it's just a game changer for us as a country.
Does it not entail much more? Let me ask you, Mensah, this. Does it not entail much more than we'll run a 24-hour economy? I mean, you just mentioned earlier that when the NPP was campaigning from 2016, 2020, it was about free SHS. Right. Everybody felt it was a good initiative. If we have our young people going to school free of charge, it's fantastic. But when the whole policy started, we realized that so much had to be done before this whole implementation. So sometimes, because it's a campaign message, you are under pressure to implement it because the people are watching. Is this feasible? I don't think there's anything impossible under the sun. But per where we stand today, how our workforce is, how our economy is, how the structure is this something that we can implement easily?
From the 24-hour economy policy is something, even if the government is under pressure to implement it, it must be implemented.
Right. Because
of how much of a strategic tool it is to ignite the development of this economy. You see, the argument must move from just number of working hours.
Sure.
We must look at, one, the impact of the policy on production, the impact of the policy on taxation, the impact of the policy on prices of goods and services, and by extension, inflation. And I'll give you a very simple example.
Right.
When you increase productivity, definitely 3 working shifts is going to increase productivity. Because factories that are closing at 6 p.m. are now going to have another shift after 6 p.m. to midnight. When you do this, it means that if you can produce 1,000 goods in a day, if you multiply it by 3, you can produce 3,000.
Yeah.
That is going to increase the supply of that particular commodity. So if there's this bottle of water, it's going to increase the supply. Basic economics.
Yeah.
And people who have done PhD in economics, like my good brother, Dr. Baumia, would understand that once there is an increase in supply of any commodity, it has an impact on prices.
Yeah.
Because the higher the supply, the lower the prices. Because the competition, you increase competition in the market. And because people are producing, people need to consume. It has an impact on consumption as well. Because once the prices go down, automatically demand also moves up the curve. This is a simple elasticity curve that people who have done at least economic at the bachelor's level will know. But
Mensah, before you go on, let me ask you this. You can just tie it in. Where we find ourselves today, do we have that increase in demand? Have we exhausted the period that we have, the opportunities that we have as a country? Have we exhausted this to now call for an extension? Have we? Yes, Mensah. No, I just want to understand. Maybe I'm part of the people who don't really.
No, let me.
Yeah,
You know, I'm laughing because you are talking like Dr. Baumia.
Well, maybe it is because
so you also don't
people
understand.
don't understand.
Okay.
No, I just want to understand. So that's why you are here. Yeah, so explain it to us.
Let me explain.
Yeah.
Please, we practice an open market economy.
Sure.
Our market prices depend solely on the factors of demand and supply. We don't practice price barriers, price ceiling, what have you. It's an open market economy. And in an open market, it's a liberal environment.
Free market.
Maybe this particular water,
Yeah.
we are producing, let's say, 100,000 bottles of this water. And people are consuming 100,000 bottles of this water.
Yeah.
When there's an increase in production to 200,000,
Yeah.
and the prices go down, somebody who drinks 2 bottles of this water will drink 3. That is the impact of the fall in prices over consumption. This is basic economics.
Yeah.
And so it is not about that whether we've been able to exhaust. When there's an excess supply, it's good because it has impact on prices. And also, it has an aggregate impact on export. So then you begin to look at external markets. Because when prices in the market fall, now businesses will begin to look at external markets. How do we look at? So the regional market. Now there's an Africa Intercontinental Free Trade Area, which Ghana we need to take advantage of.
Yeah.
And to become a production hub. And luckily for us, we are hosting the AFTA. And so this 24-hour economy thing is one of the surest ways for Ghana to harness its benefit from the Africa Continental Free Trade Area agreement that we've signed. Because if you don't take care, because of the AFTA, your country can become a dumping ground for cheap commodities.
Yeah.
And so in order to have a positive impact on what we call the net trade balance, which has an impact on your exchange rate, you need to increase your export.
Yeah.
And you can only increase export by increasing local production. Basic economics. And so it is not about whether our economy can absorb the current production now. No. Once you produce, the whole market reshuffles. The whole market, everything is going to change. Prices are going to be affected, inflation is going to be affected, employment is going to be affected, you know, and other benefits that we are going to get. Again, there is also the impact on taxes. Let me limit it to not even the prices on what we call the value-added tax, which you are going to get more because of an increase in production, but also income tax. When you increase the working hours to 3 shifts, now you have 2 other shifts. You've multiplied your income tax by 3 automatically, because all the people who are going to be working those 3 shifts are going to be earning income, which they're going to be paid taxes on.
Yeah.
And so the impact of the policy on the various sectors of the economy, i.e., which are the macroeconomic indicators, inflation, interest rate, unemployment, and then eventually your GDP, your trade balance, all these things, you know, they are fundamental and very, very obvious.
Right. Now, I'll just let Paul come in quickly. You know, one of the main reasons behind the 24-hour economy, according to the former president, is to address unemployment for the teeming youth who sit at home doing nothing. Now, the NPP also came in, you know, with a NAPCO, with a, which was also to tackle unemployment. You know, it started beautifully, but somewhere along the line, we've all heard of the issues that have come up and all this. We live in a country where we are very quick to think of policies that, according to us, will solve the problem, but implementation has always been a problem. So we just keep running around in circles. I don't know how you marry the two, you know, because there's also another way of trying to reduce the impact of unemployment in our country.
Okay.
Just quickly before we take our break.
Every social intervention is highly welcome, as far as it's going to get the youth out of the streets.
Yes.
Now, with regards to the 24-hour economy, you recall that even Kenya has been implementing this policy over years, and they are doing brilliantly well. London started in 2014, and in just a space of a year, how much did they rake in as revenue? Over 17.2 billion pounds, just within a year. All right? What are we waiting for? We have all the factors at our disposal to implement this policy. My wife was asking me yesterday, so where you have excess, supply, what happens? Just like Thompson was trying to explain. See, you do not necessarily need to wait for people to demand for a product before you come in to as it were, supply them. We have what is called induced demand, all right? So if, for instance, I live in an area, I decide that let me set up a cocoa stand. You don't see people coming to knock at your door that, hey, I want to buy cocoa. But the moment you set up that cocoa stand, from nowhere you see people coming to buy. And that is what it means by the induced demand. Produce, give them all the necessary incentives that these manufacturers need to produce. Let them produce, to meet even beyond the local demand. Yeah. Just like Thompson mentioned, after it's situated right here in Ghana, the headquarters is in Accra. Yeah. And so if you do not take this opportunity to making sure that you increase your production to meet the demand even within the sub-region, then I don't know what we are waiting for. We are lagging as a nation. And the earlier we learn from people who are implementing this policy to fine-tune. You mentioned earlier about the policies not working. You need to have a lot of stakeholder engagement. Yeah. If you do not meet them to fine-tune some of these policies, you will always hit a snag. Right. But where you have almost all of them meeting, Giorgio, TUC will bring their ideas, industrial, all of these people will bring their ideas, then you are able to dovetail them into the policy, and then you have a proper working document. Right.